Saving Kaercher Creek, a community effort as presented by Becky Ellis. This is the former site of the Price Battery lead smelter and ground zero for the Superfund Site in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. Mill Creek runs through the property on its way to the Schuylkill River. When I tried calling this phone number, I received a voice message from Matthew Love. When I Googled this phone number, it was for Exide. Since October of 2020, I have been working with the community of Hamburg and Friends of Kaercher Creek while updating and maintaining the Save Kaercher Creek Facebook page. Per the EPA's website, in early November of 2012, the PA Department of Health indicated to EPA that members of the Hamburg Historical Society had reported that there were visible battery fragments in the surface soil at the Kaercher Creek Park. Upon visual inspection in several locations, battery casings were observed in surface soils. These concentrations were revealed to be as high as 3,500 parts per million.
On Saturday, several people concerned about the future of a popular Berks County park gathered at the place they've been taking care of for years.
I have over 750 hours of volunteer time here at the property.
Tim Mazeka is one of those people who wants testing done at Kaercher Creek Park. Battery casings and lead contamination were found there about 7 years ago. It's believed the former Price Battery plant is to blame.
There are still significant portions of the park that have not been tested.
Taylor Picone, candidate for state representative, says testing will help determine if the park can reopen. It's been closed for most activities since earlier this year. Picone and those there today are asking for advocacy from local leaders to help file a lawsuit and get money to clean up the park.
A number of the bodies within the county and the state have tried to basically kind of wash their hands of it.
It's not like we're walking away from responsibility. That is not our responsibility.
County commissioners say this isn't about liability. It's about ownership, and the park doesn't belong to them. Up until about 6 years ago, Berks County leased the park from the Fish and Boat Commission. After the contamination was discovered, the lease wasn't renewed. The commissioners saying back then they didn't want taxpayers to pay for a potential multi-million-dollar cleanup. Today, they say, that hasn't changed.
And it's not the burden of the taxpayers in Berks County to clean up the battery casings. It's Fish and Boat and the state government.
Julie Greasy, 69 News.
The following is Commissioner Barnhart's full statement from the October 8, 2020 Berks County Commissioners meeting. For clarification, Taylor Picone was running against State Representative Jerry Knowles, but later lost in the general election in November.
And Taylor Picone, if you're successful in your election, then you'll be representing that area, and then you can advocate on behalf of the county to Fish and Boat and the state. As we've repeatedly said on several of these meetings, that property is not owned by the county. It was leased by the county. And it was explained by Christine Sadler, I think a week or two ago, as to why the county is no longer there. They could not give us indemnification from a potential multi-million-dollar battery cleanup. It's not like we're walking away from responsibility. That is not our responsibility, and it's not the burden of the taxpayers in Berks County to clean up the battery casings. It's Fish and Boat and the state government. Thank you.
In addition to Commissioner Barnhart's statement on behalf of the county commissioners, the following responses have been received from other elected officials. Hamburg Mayor George Holmes suggested that we, Save Kaercher Creek, start raising money to address the problem ourselves. Representative Jerry Knowles told me that he did not want Kaercher Creek to be politicized. I had contacted Senator David Argall's office, and I was told to contact Congressman Muser's office. He signed the attached letter that was sent by Representative Knowles' office referring the issue to Congressman Muser. Since, due to the nature of this matter and the fact that the EPA and lead remediation falls under the purview of the federal government, we wanted to forward this correspondence to you. Congressman Muser's office told me that the congressman did not want to contradict the findings of a federal agency, such as the Environmental Protection Agency, so he would not be advocating on Save Kaercher Creek's behalf to have the park tested for lead contamination. This is an example of the type of lead cleanup that has been done in parts of Hamburg, Pennsylvania. In an attempt to save money, the EPA allowed the contaminated areas to be fenced in rather than have the area remediated. The effectiveness of this type of so-called cleanup method can be seen here. EPA's prior cleanup of Kaercher Creek, the creek leading out of Kaercher Creek Park, was completed in December 2004. Per the EPA's website, in 2017, during an ecological assessment of Kaercher Creek, EPA remedial program contractors reported finding significant areas of erosion on the banks of Kaercher Creek adjacent to the Hamburg Fieldhouse and parking lot. In May of 2018, EPA conducted an initial assessment of the erosion-damaged creek bank. During the assessment, several areas of erosion were observed with visible battery casings and lead concentrations around 2,600 to 2,800 parts per million. This additional remediation project is expected to cost approximately $14 million. Just a short walk away from this latest remediation project is where water flows from Kaercher Creek Lake into the stream. Yesterday, I saw young children and their parents climbing the embankment to access the soccer field. The soccer field was completed on the park grounds in 2008. My daughter was one of the children that had fundraised for the project, which had started in 2001. On April 15th of 2021, I sent the following email to the EPA, copying the Berks County Commissioners on the correspondence. I am still waiting for a response. Item 3 is what I am most interested in with regards to Kaercher Creek Park, particularly the statement in quotes, EPA is not aware of other observations or information to indicate that other areas of the park contain lead contamination, end quotes. The problem that exists is that the park most likely contains additional lead contamination, or else the county would have renewed the lease agreement regardless if the county were to be indemnified by the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission for any future lead findings and cleanup. If it is not safe enough to maintain Kaercher Creek Park as a county park for our community, is it safe enough for the Hamburg children to continue to play soccer on the field that the fundraising efforts of our community had helped to build? My daughter was one of the soccer players that raised money and practiced for countless hours on that field. Is it safe enough for me and others to continue to walk the grounds of the park? What we, our community group of Save Kaercher Creek, are asking is that the Kaercher Creek Park in its entirety be tested for lead contamination. It is impossible to deal with a problem if we ignore it or leave it for someone else to come across by chance, which is literally what happened to prompt the November 2012 testing. I used to live within walking distance of Kaercher Creek Park when I lived on State Street in Hamburg, and my entire house had to be cleaned and my yard ripped out and replaced due to lead contamination, and my young daughter was tested for lead poisoning. My family deserved better. Our community deserved and still deserves better. Please help us right the wrongs inflicted upon our community by Price Battery and Exide. Please help us get all of Kaercher Creek Park tested so we can verify if lead does indeed exist on the property. Once we verify if there is any other lead contamination on the property, we can all finally move on. That way, if necessary, we can take steps to clean up our beautiful park so no other mother or father ever has to worry about the safety of their child due to potential lead poisoning. Why is it imperative to test Kaercher Creek Park for lead contamination to know what needs to be remediated? A picture is worth 1,000 words, and these pictures are from 2018, with flooding occurring in the Price Battery Superfund Site area. Flooding has since occurred in Hamburg in 2019 and 2020 as well. If lead contamination is still present in Kaercher Creek Park or the Price Battery Superfund Site, the lead will make its way into the Schuylkill River. At that point, it is no longer just Hamburg's problem, but it becomes everyone's problem.